Hello, guys. Am I audible? Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning, Shivaji.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of our journalism internship. And I'll hand over to ma'am to continue where we left off yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Wonderful. Good morning. So, how are you doing? Very nice. We have 16 of you who have joined. Okay, so in another 5 minutes, I expect everyone to join. So, tell me, how was the day? I mean, did you get to think about your report or your article? Bolo?
Yes, ma'am. I've started working on like a brief description, but it's
Mm,
still not fully completed.
okay. So, what
Yeah,
exactly?
I
How are you
too.
planning to write it? Just go ahead, talk, everyone. Tell me how are you planning to do it?
Yeah, I also made a draft, and the meeting notes that the some of the meeting notes that I made, I just simply organized into a
Hmm.
draft kind of thing.
Okay. Anyone faced any problem?
No, ma'am.
So shall we start or shall we wait for 2 more minutes for everyone to join?
I think they'll turn up as we proceed.
Okay. So yesterday we spoke, I'll just give you a general introduction about content writing and journalism. Today we will try to understand it through examples. Uh, let me say, how do we, let's try to understand writer कैसे लिखेगा, how is a journalist going to write, and how is a content creator going to write. Before I begin, tell me, I sometimes do speak in Hindi. Is everyone comfortable with that? Or is there
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't understand Hindi? Everyone understands?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, cool.
Ma'am, could you please
Yeah,
repeat?
bacha, I'm not visible because I will be sharing the screens abhi ek do. So I will just keep on switching on and off my camera. Hanji bacha.
Could you repeat what you just said?
I said today we are going to distinguish, how a writer, a journalist, or a content creator writes through examples so that it becomes clear. Yesterday we just discussed kaise differences hai, and I
Okay.
told you a journalist can be a content creator or a writer, but vice versa बहुत नहीं होता usually. ठीक है, because the nuances of a journalist are something that others don't have. So you need to learn that. So tell me, okay, before I begin, tell me, how do you think a creative writer writes, a journalist writes, and a content creator writes? Anyone has an idea?
Ma'am, I feel like a journalist first researches about what he or she has to write, and the content writer maybe just expresses themselves.
Hmm, that is काफी हद तक true. Anyone else would like to add? What usually happens is a creative writer creates experiences. The idea is to create experience. So you have, if you see novels or you write poems or short stories, the idea is you're just creating an experience for your reader. Of course, you are talking about your experience, your ideas, but you're not bothered about facts. You're not bothered about जो लिख रहे हो वो सही है या something. It's just you're just writing it because you want to write it. So the goal is basically entertainment, या तुम्हारा अपना imagination है, या expressions. That is the idea of a creative writer. When we talk about journalist, the goal is to inform, investigate, give you the reality, facts people are going to be reading. And so whatever you write, it has to have a evidence. Whatever you say, it has to have an evidence to support it. Content writer, like yesterday, some of you said, it's for a specific audience. So the idea is to create awareness, education, engage your reader. It comes with a goal. ये article पढ़ने के बाद I should have these many people subscribing to my newsletter. That kind of a goal it is. Or these number of people should come and, buy products from me. That kind of a content writer writes with that kind of an intention. So let's understand it. Suppose there is a school cafeteria. Since all of you are in school, so tell me, अगर आप लोगों को cafeteria describe करना हो अपना, how will you do as a creative writer, as a journalist, and as a content writer? Can any of you think कैसे start करोगे? As a content writer, what is going to be your first line? What is going to be your focus? बोलो. I think I better be visible. मेरे expression से शायद बोलोगे. Come on, creative writers. कैसे school cafeteria को कैसे describe करोगे? What is it that you will focus on? You have to concentrate on experiences. Yeah.
Ma'am, maybe we'll glorify the quality of the food which is provided by the canteen members, and also if it's affordable or not for people, like something like that.
We could
Yes.
add
Good question.
visual components
Yes.
and
You can talk
the
about the
feeling we get,
ambience.
the feelings we get when we enter the cafeteria.
Yes. Wonderful.
I feel that we can also add the feeling of friendship. Friends go to cafeteria even if none of them have money and they borrow, and it's just cozy and it's funny and we're laughing and all that.
Wonderful. Great. And what about journalist? If a journalist, you have to write as a journalist, what is going to be that you're going to focus on?
Ma'am,
A journalist would write about like the problems that the children face, like sometimes the prices are being raised or the quality of the food is degrading. So a journalist may write on those issues.
Wonderful. And content writer? Content writers has to see uski audience किस चीज में interested होगी. How is he going to pull the audience?
Ma'am, like a content writer may write about the memories made on the connection friendships in the cafeteria.
Yeah, that can be also, or you
and
may talk about.
they can also focus upon that the smell of food is everywhere and there is chaos everywhere, but that chaos is memorable because that's with our friends.
Okay. So, in a way, is it similar to creative writing?
Sort of.
I said, in a way, is it similar to write what a creative writer will write?
Ma'am, it's like as like a creative writer mostly creates his or her own ideas, and he tries to bring them as like the issue or like the statement from his or her own ideas. But a content writer usually focuses on his or her experiences with the topic and writes it down.
Okay. Anyone else? See, how is it going to change from content writer to creative writer, or creative writer to content writer? Is creative writer will write about things that he enjoys or he gets attracted to. For example, I go to a school cafeteria and I find, यार ये तो बहुत creative जगह है यहाँ पे. This school has actually worked hard to make it creative, colorful. That's what I like. And I will start my article with that. Whereas a content writer, he might feel, acha, it's colorful, it's beautiful, but uski target audience won't be interested in reading about that. So uski target audience will come only, say, if he talks about food, if he talks about kya kya nayi varieties aayi hai, because he ultimately uska aim hai ki aur bande yahan pe aaye, khaye. And people generally don't go for ambience or something like that. In a cafeteria, they go more for food, sasta, price. Okay, school mein samosa 2 rupees mein mil raha hai. Okay, I will go there. That kind of a things, no? So the content writer will look more towards audience kya chahegi, and they will do write accordingly. Whereas creative writer will write to usse jo bhi usse pasand hai. You understand the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Cool.
ma'am.
And a journalist will look for किस चीज से लोगों को इम्पैक्ट होगा, किस चीज से उन्हें फर्क पड़ेगा, that kind of a thing. Just a second. I just shared the slide. Can you guys see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
कहाँ चला गया मेरी स्क्रीन पे चला. Guys, just a second. I will have to stop this. I just will share it. So I just tried to show you the difference. It's the same event, one event, theme writing styles. ठीक है? Creative writer may start with, samosas, aroma of samosas and stuff like that. Journalists will talk about kya naye menus introduced hue hain, or as somebody said, something negative, or say there is a cockroach in the food. He will highlight that. And content writer will talk about maybe healthier lunch options kya hai, depending on uski audience, wo kis audience ke liye likh raha hai. That kind of a thing. So a content writer will look at audience because his primary target is to engage readers. Journalist will look for impact. कौन सी चीजें उसके, again he will look at the readers also, but उसको देखना है, facts देखने हैं, or whether this news is going to be of interest to the people. Does it create an impact? Is it going to affect people? Whereas creative writer is more imaginary. He will be अच्छा ये अच्छा है, जो मन करे वो ऐसा लिखता है. He doesn't care about, he may or may not care about the readers. So a simple story can be presented in 3 different formats by 3 different writers. And this is how we actually change एक story को हम different platforms के लिए भी कैसे use कर सकते हैं. This is the perfect example of that. So, did you guys understand the difference? कुछ समझ में आया?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Fine. So when you do creative writing, you go into more descriptive language. You can put in adjectives and stuff like that, because the idea is to make readers, get into this. They get a picture. Just by reading it, they get a picture of things. That is not an objective of a journalist. So, how do you make a particular thing? Sorry, just a second. Okay. So, if you guys have understood thoda sa iska, can you guys help me understand? Suppose there is a science exhibition in your school. How do you think the 3 will now write? Creative writer कैसे, किस पे फोकस करेगा, जर्नलिस्ट किस पे फोकस करेगा, and content writer किस पे फोकस करेगा? So can you try that experiment?
Ma'am, can you please repeat your question?
I said now that Have you people understood the difference, how the writing varies from a creative writer to journalist to a content writer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you try this with a school? Say there is a science exhibition in your school. Can you try this?
A creative writer could start like the children were bubbling with excitement to start showcasing their experiments, and the writer would focus on making their piece of writing more engaging for the readers so that they're completely hooked into it.
Hmm. And journalist?
They would try to make it short, crisp, and concise for the readers so that they get information out of it.
Cool. So let's do it. अगले 5 minute I give you. Try giving me first 1 or 2 lines as a creative writer, as a content writer, as a journalist. Try doing that. Let's see how many of you come up with what kind of different ideas and कैसे start करते हो. Let's try doing that. Is it okay? Just give it a shot. Vihana, I think you didn't join yesterday, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. I was not here.
So can you introduce yourself to others?
Okay, ma'am. I am Vihana and I'm grade 11th. Currently, I'm studying in KR Mangalam, Bahadurgarh branch. And I joined this session in order to, explore more about journalism because I have keen interest in that. Also, I have interest in psychology, but I left it out just so I can explore a new area of interest of mine. I write poems, and three of my poems are published in the Times of India, the student edition,
Wonderful.
and one article is also published in Times of India about British colonial period. Yes, that's all.
Wonderful. Nice. Cool. Any other person who has joined today? If there is anyone else, kindly introduce yourself. I can see 2 or 3 names who were not there yesterday. Okay, बच्चा लोग, have you thought about it? लिख लिया?
Yes, ma'am, it's written.
Okay, share it with
Yes.
us.
I'll go first.
Yeah, anyone.
So this, I would like to tell you something that like you showed me the previous screen. So I have observed something that the journalist which was sharing about the school cafeteria, he started with the fact, right, that this much this is going on, and the creative writer hooks up with an emotional kind of thing. Whereas the content writer starts with a question and then they hook up with the audience. So in order to
Right.
that I have written it down. So if a
Okay.
journalist is saying that like maybe more than 300 students showcased keen interest in scientific solution at the school annual science exhibition on Saturday, that's how he will start. But whereas a creative writer will be like the moment of the doors open, the whole hall of universe where imagination and science, something like that. Whereas a content writer will be like, what happens when young minds are given the freedom to innovate? The answer was on display at the spectacular science exhibition. Something like that I observed. That's why I write this.
Okay, nice. Nice observation. Yes. Others?
Ma'am, for the way I wrote
Yeah.
too, I also wrote it in like a factual base for the journalists. Like over 200 students gathered around in the school to showcase their new projects. And then for the creative writer, it was I wrote it for like in a third person viewpoint, as in the air smelled of possibility, where students were asking what if, and just like that. And then for a content writer, I wrote it, I don't know if I can write it, but I wrote it in a first person manner. So it was like at the second I walked into that exhibition hall, I knew this was going to be one of those days you don't forget.
Hello. Sorry, Bachar, how do you pronounce your name? Lintoy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Lintoy, you just thoda sa you've mixed up. Creative writer is the one who will write first person account. Content writer, maybe first person or maybe, from an observation point of view.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. So, thoda sa upar niche ho gaya, but it's good. Yes. Others? Yeah. Anyone else? Nobody wants to try. See, both of them gave you a wonderful example. A creative writer will focus on experiences. He will talk about science exhibition mein kaisa feel hua, how are the people behaving, that is what his focus will be on. The general feel of the place, you can put it. A journalist will look out for things that people will be interested in or jo newsworthy cheeze ho, maybe how many students have participated, or maybe, science exhibition when there is a display of something that will actually attract readers. Maybe somebody has come up with renewable energy kind of a, Delhi is so much of pollution, so somebody has come up with a model which helps fight the pollution, that kind of a thing, you know and content writer will see kaise hai, miss the school exhibition maybe, so he will give you kya cheeze wahan pe display hui hai, which you may have loved had you visited it. So it's different way of writing. What happens is, if I look at just science exhibition, a content writer or a creative writer, their writing will be used before the exhibition in order to get more visitors to the exhibition. So it will be used more as a promotional kind of a writing, or you will have post इस exhibition में ऐसे है वो है, just come and visit it. If you guys must have seen things like that. Whereas the journalistic article will be more useful post the event, because then it will be more like event mein kya hua, what was the main attraction, how many people joined it. So post the event, journalistic article has a value which school, or the organizations can use next year in order to promote the event again. But in order to promote an event this year, have more visitors, creative writers and content writers will play a more important role. Did I make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So did you understand how the writing varies? Same thing, but आपको थोड़ा सा उससे change करना पड़ता है in order to meet the occasion, in order to meet the platform, in order to meet the audience, kind of a thing. So if Shaina, creative writer, the students are buzzing with excitement about the science exam held in the school. Now, teachers, parents, and the students themselves fill the open area with their chatter, laughter, and excitement, right? The school has held a science exhibition for the students of the senior wing in the following week. But a journalist, if it's just a report that you're talking about, then you can start it like that. You may have, it's a general kind of report, but if it's a news piece as a journalist that you are supposed to write, then you will have to highlight something which is going to attract readers, or which is an unusual thing. Content writers, what happens when young minds are mapped to discover science? Yes. So basically, content writer, if you see, most content writing happens on net. And the common format is that, you use a question kind of a thing. You introduce the reader to the article through questions. Why do we do that? Because it arouses curiosity among people. अगर मैंने कुछ बोल दिया, oh, um, science exhibition. Did you miss this exhibition? It was great. Or
Mm,
did you see what happened? Did you see the latest innovation to fight pollution in Delhi? It's bound to attract people. You're creating curiosity. So a person, since all of you are children and you are more on social media and on shops, you read news. So you must have seen, if the first or second line is not you're able to grasp your attention, you just move on the next story. You don't even bother to wait or read. So, the attention span is the attention span is hardly there. It's like 1 or 2 seconds you have to catch the attention of the person. So if you're not able to get it right, you lose the reader. So that's why content writer works really hard on the first or second sentences. They are very, very important. So if I put it in simple words, are you able to see the slide? One line difference? Yes. Are you able to see it? One line difference?
Yes, ma'am.
So creative writing is more, how can I tell this beautifully? Journalism is what actually happens, and content writing is how can I make this useful and engaging for a specific audience. That's the general criteria we follow when one has to write. Okay. So coming back to,
Ma'am, in journalism, like, can we exaggerate the facts that we're telling?
no, you cannot exaggerate the facts because you have to support it with proof. If somebody questions you, you should be able to support it. So you can't exaggerate. That's why you see the usage of words like almost, about, it's never given perfect. हाँ, ऐसा हो सकता है. Sources have said that. Because if ever you're questioned, you should be able to defend the things. So even if it's like school exhibition, ma'am, a journalist will never write 300 people visited the venue. He will write more than 300, around 300. Why? Because that's a rough figure. Tomorrow, anybody can question. 300 कहाँ थे? Maybe 350 were there. Maybe 310 were there. So you can't just write a proper figure. So you have to write more than, around, that kind of a thing. So that tomorrow, if somebody questions you, you can always say, it wasn't there. We've just mentioned it more than, around. So that kind of a thing. So you have to be very, very careful with figures as a journalist.
Ma'am, I had a question. So, if in journalism, do we have to attract the reader or it's just plain writing?
If you're in working on, say, online media, social media, that kind of a thing, so you have to do both of them. You have to attract also the reader, and you have to make sure that you don't go wrong with facts and something like that.
Ma'am, I had a question.
Hmm.
A journalist always write after the event happens or before it also?
It depends what you want to write. For example, if I'm talking about just say science exhibition that I said, usually he will write post the event. How was the event or something. But if the objective is to tell people that the event is taking place, he can write that also. But the difference is gonna be it will be more factually based, simple, straightforward sentences. The objective is just to create awareness. Whereas the content writer will try to magnify the whole thing because his objective is to get more people to the venue. आया समझ?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so next is what makes something newsworthy. Tell me, thousands of things happen every day. ऐसा क्यों होता है कि कुछ चीजें ही become news and not everything becomes news, isn't it? So why is it? What makes a particular event newsworthy?
Ma'am, if a particular event is able to, affect a lot of minds, and it bothers a lot of people, and something which is of actual public interest, it becomes news.
Yeah,
Something that is
that's right.
relevant to people becomes news.
Right. Cool.
Or maybe something that
Oh,
is unexpected.
yes. So basically, journalists look for news value. And when we say news value, we mean, does this information impact people? How many people will get impacted? For example, schools or government comes up with a decision that schools will start at 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning rather than 7 or 8. So, does it make a news?
Yes, because many people would be impacted by it.
Exactly, because people will get impacted. Students, parents, the whole transportation system, everything will get impacted by this. Relevance? Yes, it has a relevance for its audience. Human interest? People will get interest, people will be interested in it. The same news हम क्यों लेंगे? क्योंकि human interest भी है, it impacts people, it has relevance, it is in a way unusual also in places like Delhi or somewhere. So, there are certain points that we see. It's not just this stuff, but what makes for a newsworthy stuff is we see the relevance, we see human interest, we see, is it unusual, something पहली बार हो रहा है? Timeline, very, very important. For example, Iran US news is no longer, sorry, Iran US war is no longer kind of a news. It's, war chal raha hai. Unless something extraordinary happens, nobody even is bothering to read about it. But the day it happened for the first time, it was all over media, be it print, be it online, be it TV, everywhere it was. Why? Because timeline is very, very important in news. Did it happen recently? Let's put it West Bengal elections. There is something recent. आज की डेट में वहां पे किसने जीता? Is it a news?
Oh, ma'am.
बोलो. हाँ जी. Is it a news? See, West Bengal elections, उसमें result क्या निकला है? That was a news that was very important on the day of election results were declared. 2 days later or one day later, that actually made no point. Like yesterday, you said newspapers में एक दिन पुरानी news आ जाती है. So, it becomes too stale kind of a thing. Whereas online, you get whatever is happening there and there. So that's why timeline is very important. Ma'am, where do we have to submit the report as said yesterday? Bacha, we will share with you the links. आज या कल तक हम आपको लिंक भेज देंगे, आप उस पर शेयर कर देना. I'm trying to share a screen with you. Is it happening? आ रहा है क्या आप लोगों के पास?
No, ma'am.
Here. ठीक है. न्यूज वैल्यू कितना है उस स्टोरी का, दैट इज व्हाट डिफाइंस ये न्यूज होती है या नहीं. अ सिंपल इवेंट, आपके स्कूल में साइंस एग्जीबिशन हुआ, इज इट रियली न्यूज वर्दी? एंड You will decide that one, आपका medium कौन सा है, where you are planning to write or where this will get published. Then you will see impact, relevance, human interest, novelty, timeline, all those things. Based on these, you will decide whether the news is worthy to be carried or not. Many a times, let's put it school exhibition. For a national daily like Times of India, it won't be a major news event. एक school में science exhibition हुआ. But for a newspaper or magazine dealing with schools only, it will be a news. Right? For your own school, it will be a major news. Am I making sense? कुछ समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
तो इतना शांत क्यों है सारे? Okay, so let's try. I gave you an assignment yesterday. So let's try the same experiment with that assignment. How are you going to write it as a journalist, as a creative writer, and a content writer? Same assignment. कल का क्या हुआ? कल की class का. For those of you who didn't join yesterday, you're supposed to write an article or a report of yesterday's class. Since you weren't there, you're going to talk about today's class, okay? So tell me, कल की क्लास को आप as journalist कैसे लिखोगे, content writer कैसे लिखोगे, creative writer कैसे लिखोगे?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Will we submit 3 reports, like as a creative writer, journalist, or content writer, or just one?
No, you will submit just one,
Okay.
whichever way you feel like writing, because right now you're just trying to write it in the manner that you know the best. Fine. So write it whichever way you want to write. But right now, I just want you to give me the intro as a journalist, as a content writer, as a creative writer, because that's what we have been doing from past half an hour. So I want to understand whether you have actually been able to understand the difference between the three by giving you an example completely drop you have been thinking since yesterday. 2 minutes and give me your answers. Ikasma. Yes, Bacha, what are you asking? Speak up. I don't want you people to write it here. You just write it at your end and then let us all know your answers, because the idea is
Ma'am,
that you
can
all
I
learn from each other.
ma'am, can I start?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, as a creative writer, I would say it like, hi, I'm Manvi Singh. I believe words have power to inspire, connect, and spark imagination. A poet at heart and a national level Bharatanatyam dancer, I draw creatively from both movement and language. As the head of my school's Indian debate club, I enjoy
Wait,
expressing ideas.
just a sec, Manvi. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but mine is based on yesterday's class. You're supposed to make a report or an article. Introduction. nahi. I don't want you. I've already know you people now. So yesterday the assignment was that you summarize what happened in today's class as a report, or you just write it as an article. So I want guys to just take that article likha hai, report socha hai, whatever you thought, just tell us that and then change it to the other forms of writing. Just one line or two line, how you are going to start or how you think you are going to start, that kind of a thing. I want you to start thinking like a journalist, like a content writer, like a creative writer. तीनों ways में, because that's what we have been discussing from past 45 minutes now. So, okay, confusion over, or somebody else needs to ask something.
Ma'am, this is what I've written as of now.
Hmm.
So, as a journalist, I've written on 5th June 2026
Hmm.
an introductory session for the journalism and content writing internship batch brought together various students for the first time in a virtual
Hmm.
setting.
Hmm.
And then, as a content writer, the line that I wrote was, what happens when a group of students log on into a video call, all
Hmm.
nervous and both excited, and then they walk away feeling like a team. This is exactly what happened at the journalism internship's first introductory session.
Right.
And then, as a creative writer, um, I wrote, I was nervous and both excited as I saw the teacher's face. But
Hmm.
the moment my screen was filled with all of the voices of my friends and colleagues,
Hmm.
I felt that somewhere between all the unmuting, all the questions asked, there was something shifting in my mind, and that
Hmm.
we just suddenly stopped being strangers.
Wonderful. Very nice. Just one
Thank you,
thing
ma'am.
I would like to add. You spoke about your report in which you said various students participated.
Yes, ma'am.
A journalist mentions a number. Fine.
Okay,
You
ma'am.
don't have to be exact with numbers. Just give a rough estimate. Like I said, more than 300, around 300. So you can say mm, nearly 25 students, 30 students, that kind of a thing. But just give figures, not various.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, I have written
Hmm.
for uh, for a journalist. Yesterday, many children participated in the first class of journalism and content writing internship. They were
Hmm.
introduced to their mentor for the session, Aditi ma'am, who is a writer.
Hmm.
The class started with
Hmm.
introductions and a general idea about journaling. Around 30
Hmm.
students joined the session.
Hmm.
And as a content writer, did you miss yesterday's internship session? Here's what happened.
Hmm.
And as a creative writer, my heart hammered with excitement as my first session of journaling and content writing internship began. That's all I was able to do.
Very nice. I'm dealing with highly intelligent students. Great. Yes, anyone else would like to share? The reason why I'm asking you people to share is one, it will help you come out, speak about things, just leave behind your hesitation. Second, give it a try. You're not here to
Um,
criticize or do anything like that. We're
Excuse
just
me,
here to
ma'am.
learn. Yes, Manvi.
Ma'am, can I start?
Yes, Bacha. Start.
Ma'am, firstly, I would be doing it as a creative writer.
Mm,
A glimpse into the world of media. Yesterday's introductory session offered an exciting introduction to media and communication. During the introductions, we all showed our love for writing, poetry, public speaking. We explored different forms of media like digital print and broadcast, discussed about misinformation and disinformation, and
mm,
the session ended with engaging question answer round, and left me inspired to learn more about storytelling, media, and content writing. As a
Okay.
content writer, exploring media and communication with content writing. I attended an introductory session on media and communication where participants introduced themselves and shared their interest. I spoke about my passion for writing, debating, and public speaking. The session focused on difference between digital print and broadcast media, the difference between misinformation and disinformation. It ended with a lively question answer session and provided a valuable insights in the world of media and content writing.
Okay.
And
The first one was as a journalist or as a creative writer?
ma'am, the first one was as a creative writer, the second one
Okay.
was content writer,
Content writer, right. Good.
and
And
then
now,
I have
hmm.
the journalist.
Hmm.
Just a
Good morning, ma'am.
Just a 1 minute, Tamanna. Manvi, would you like to continue with
yes,
journalist?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hmm.
Introductory session on journalism and content writing. An introductory session on media and journalism was conducted on 5th June 2026. The sessions began with the participant introduction, during which students shared their interests and aspirations. I, the sessions
Hmm.
provided an overview of the three major forms of media: digital, print, and broadcast. Participants also learned about the distinction between misinformation and disinformation and discussed the importance of verifying information before sharing it. Another
Okay.
key
Good.
topic was the role of headlines in journalism and how they help capture readers' attention while accurately reflecting a story's content. This session concluded with an interactive question answer round, allowing participants to engage with the speaker and gain further insights into the field. Overall, the session served as an informative introduction to the fundamentals of journalism and content writing.
Nice. Good. Yes. Yes, Tamanna, you also wanted to share?
Ma'am, I wanted to share that. Good morning, ma'am. Firstly, I'm sorry I
Okay.
just joined 5 minutes before I was like after the session I got a really bad I think it is throat infection, so I couldn't join this morning, and I would present it in the next session if it's fine.
Yes, Bacha, it's fine. It's just, we are just doing the exercises to help you understand things better. Because once you will start thinking, then only things will become clear to you. Right. And
If it
today
is
we are just
similar,
trying to
yeah.
tell you the difference between the three forms of writing. कैसे हम उसे थोड़ा सा चेंज करके प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए तैयार करते हैं एंड वी वर्क एज अ जर्नलिस्ट और वी वर्क एज अ क्रिएटिव राइटर और वी वर्क एज अ कंटेंट राइटर what is the subtle difference between the three? You can put it. We're just trying to, I think you will get the
Thank
recording
you,
of it.
ma'am.
So
Yeah.
just try to understand. In case any of you have doubts, come back to me next time because after that we will start uh, doing, news articles, how people write for news agencies, media houses. That is where we're going to specialize. Dheere, dheere. So
Okay,
today
ma'am.
is just trying to help you understand the difference. Once you will get hang of things, you all are so intelligent. आप आराम से pick कर लोगे. I can see that. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for cooperating.
It's okay, Bacha. Yes. Anyone else wants to share? I hope you have understood the difference between the three forms of writing. थोड़ा सा clarity आ गई होगी. It will take time for things to settle down, but I hope थोड़ा सा you guys have been able to, get things, कैसे, how the three think differently. बोलो. Okay, so we still have a few minutes left, so we're going to talk about forms of journalism basically. What happens is journalism, you already, yesterday we discussed about the three platforms where we write or, write our stories or tell our stories. Online, print, broadcast media. Three formats we follow. Again, if you know the fundas of writing, आपको सिर्फ उसे थोड़ा सा change करना पड़ता है based on the कैसा format, कौन सा medium है, क्या है, उसके हिसाब से you just have to change your writing style. That's it. Fundas remain the same. So, forms of journalism, how we किस type की writing जाती है, is one is news report, another is feature story. You have opinion piece, reviews, profile. I hope you know the difference between all of them.
Yes.
What is opinion piece?
Ma'am, opinion piece is like maybe some event happened or like is like there is any particular situation. Then the writer presents their personal view about it, their point of view, their opinion through their piece. That is the opinion piece, in my opinion.
Yes. It's not that an event needs to happen. Opinion piece is mainly written by people, who have an authority in the subject. For example, if I take the example of school, should school phones be allowed in schools? The right person to talk about it would be a school principal or somebody who is into the business of schools, understands the education system, the school, how schools operate very well. So, an opinion piece on this kind of a topic will come from that person. It makes it much more authentic. A nutritionist will talk about nutrition. Defense expert will write an opinion piece about defense, national security. So this is how it happens. Feature is it just focuses on people and experiences. Profile, you might, the person who scored topper, UPSC topper. So, you just go and ask that person, uske bare mein uska interview lete ho, ya you just talk to him, how he scored and stuff like that. So we just general profile uska dalte hain. Kaisa hai. Review, some of you are already into book reviewing and movie reviewing. So you know how it's done. You evaluate something. But what is important is news report. This format of writing, ये चीजें almost हर जगह पे we try to use whenever we work as a journalist. It doesn't matter whether you are with TV, you are with online media, or you are with print. You have to have the 5 Ws in one edge. We use it everywhere to get our info. And why it is important is the 5 Ws in one edge is because maximum ये जो info है ना इनमें who, what, when, where, why, how, इसमें maximum info आपकी first paragraph में होना चाहिए. If you watch, those of you who read news from InShort, try seeing that. It's just one paragraph news. If you find that interesting, then you go to the main source, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So उस एक पैराग्राफ में वो कैसे छांटते हैं, what is the best thing, आप कैसे वो देखोगे, they follow this format. आज just this is a simple try you guys can do in this week. Just एक in short से news उठा लो and see, do they follow this who, what, when, where, why. Try to get that and how. In questions का answer they try to give in the first paragraph itself. In case you feel it's important, then you go and read the other stuff. So a journalist works like that. Main info is covered with these questions. So ensure that your first paragraph answers all these questions. If not all, at least most of them. This is what helps you get the audience. Aapka reader, once they will read it, or TV audience, once they will first ek do line mein, if you are able to give them this info, you capture your audience. Fine. So just remember this thing. We will talk in detail how to go about it, but today is just try to observe in shorts, try to observe other forms of news that you read, consume, wherever you consume it from, and see, do they answer these questions in the first paragraph? Okay? Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Cool.
ma'am.
Okay. Good. So today we will stop here only. I hope you have been able to understand things. You have been able to understand the difference between the three forms of writing. We have just touched upon how journalistic writing is done. Of course, it will take us time, but basics we have touched. So I hope you have understood that. In case of any confusion, we'll discuss it next time. And I would like to have your articles or reports or whichever way is convenient for you to write. Just give it by Thursday. Yes, what makes a good headline? But we will be answering that. We will be doing that in our follow-up sessions. अभी तो we are just touching how to write. Headline तो बाद में आएगा अभी. पहले हमें ये तो पता लगे हमें लिखना क्या है. Ma'am, will let you guys know better. Okay. So, any questions anyone wants to ask? Or shall we end the session?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question. Ma'am, are you a journalist yourself or are you what? I was not in yesterday's session, so I'm not aware of.
I've been a journalist. Nowadays, I write, I teach.
You teach journalism.
Yes, I teach journalism.
Okay, all right.
Oh, okay, bye. But look, by tomorrow we'll be sharing with you the info where you need to send us the articles, reports, whatever you feel like. Write as much as you want. There's no word limit with it. Fine. So, good day. Bye-bye.
Sure,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
Bye,
I'll
ma'am.
Bye,
conclude
bye.
Bye,
conclude here.
ma'am.
It was a wonderful session. Ma'am talked about the differences in the mindset of a journalist and a non-journalist writing content, feature, or other forms of writing. So I hope you enjoyed this session, everyone. I'll end the session now.